Welcome back to the Venari Podcast. I'm Gov Candola, and for today's episode, we're joined by Janice Lee for a special mini-series all to do with International Women in Engineering Day, which is on the 23rd of June. Now, Janice is the rail and transit market sector leader with Arcadis for North America. Now, Arcadis obviously are a global design and engineering consultancy firm. Janice, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, Gov. Thanks for having me here.
Janice, in today's episode, we're going to be learning more about you, the decisions that you've made throughout your career, the reason, why you took on an engineering degree, and also, learning a bit more about what Arcadis is doing with regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. But to kick us off, Janice, do you mind giving us an intro to you and your role with Arcadis?
Yeah, sure. I started my career in the public sector, working for Amtrak, which is a national railroad company in the U.S., working in the field, supporting the rail car and locomotive maintenance and facility improvement program. For the past 25 years, I've been in the private sectors in consulting, working with a wide range of management and technicals programs in the US and also worldwide as well. In the more recent years, more or less focused on the project, but more on helping with our client from the business side and also developing staff. At Arcadis, as you mentioned, my role is focused on the North America and around in transit market sectors, really working with in the internal team, but helping our clients to solve their transportation problem. Ultimately, it's really connecting people, places, and communities with a better mobility solutions.
Now, your degree, you did an industrial engineering degree. Is that correct? Yeah. What made you want to pursue that degree?
So as a kid, like many other kids, I play with Legos. I like to build things. As I moved to my schooling. Before college, I always went the options to choose the projects to do instead of writing a paper. So I actually started with one to be an architect. I thought I really like buildings, something about buildings. But then I realized I'm not that creative. So in my mind, I have sisters and cousins that are extremely creative. So, and then I kind of figure I'm pretty good at math. I like build things, and engineering seems to be a field of many opportunity. And why industrial engineering is actually was my mom back then, many years ago. She mentioned that, hey, that is an option. And when I look into it, and kind of fitting things together, making things work, making more efficient. That's kind of industrial engineering is in general in the system side. So I think that's kind of where I find my passion and niche.
I was going to say, obviously, given the push for an increase in demographic diversity, in your opinion, what needs to be done to increase the number of female leaders within sectors that cross over with engineering?
I think there been a lot of effort, a lot of attention's putting it. I think it's what could be done more or continues to that is more intentional effort, in particular in their executions and the follow through. There are definitely a lot of support, policy goals, target being set. But I think they're being more disciplined from the hiring to setting a program to provide upskill trainings. I do believe by continues to do that, providing those opportunity, encourage women to get into engineering. Once you get them in, how to retain them, how to continues to build that pipeline.
Yeah, it's certainly critical. I do a lot of work within the US when it comes to the rail sector, and there's a huge bias in terms of obviously the planning, provision, and design of transportation systems in terms of male bias, because a lot of the decision makers are often male, but however, the majority user for the transportation systems is often female. So consultancy firms like Arcadis and design consultancy firms, but also in engineering firms, there really needs to be a huge push, whether it's building that future bench of talent, but also the executives who are currently making the decisions, to push for more female leadership, to kind of help the end user, kind of gain, what they really want to see as well. I was going to say, now, in terms of Arcadis itself, what are they doing to improve diversity, equity, and inclusion within the business?
Yeah, so at Arcadis, they're diversity, inclusions, and belonging is really a cornerstone of everything we do, and it's a very important kind of cultural within the company. So there's multiple things that we do. First of all, start out with the policy and setting goals and target. We have that in place, and that is kind of across the board from the top executive level to the entire company. Such as in 2022, the company set a goal for 30% of our employees should be females. Very proud of we were able to meet and exceed that goal in 2022. Right now for this year, 2023, our target is 40-60, 40% female, 60% male. Very proud to say that I just learned we are at 39%.
Wow.
And we are not halfway through the years. And I think that is very encouraging. And this also show that, hey, we set the target and we are meeting and exceeding that. Currently, our executive level, leadership team is actually 60% women and 40% male. The other things that we just launched late last year is a new programs called the Women of Color program, with a focus particularly to promote underrepresented women's, minority women's in the workplace. And that's along with the company have 5 different, we call it the affinity group, basically an employee network and representing different ratios, ethics, cultures, genders, diversifications. So I think as a company continues to provide those opportunity, providing upskills, trainings, when there are promotions, openings available, making sure that for the supervisor and manager and a leadership team, understand that how to advocate our very talented women's, how to kind of from the junior level, mid-level, to kind of get them, guide them through to the senior executive levels.
And to wrap up, I was going to ask you, if you could do one thing differently for women in engineering, what would it be?
I wouldn't say differently. I think what I would maybe call it doing a little bit more, providing more activity, really had a hands-on opportunity. It's really early on to the younger generation, really steering them before they make the choices in college. So I think a lot of, there are definitely a lot of focus on like the college, but I think we need to go even earlier in the high school, particular when they start thinking about before they pick a degree. And then I can kind of relate to it for myself. I have 2 daughters, and I'm very proud to say both of them are they're still in the school age, college and high school, finishing high school, pursuing a STEM degree. So the interesting factor is, as I cannot say it was my influence. I definitely have encouraged them, showed them like the career that I have, the opportunities, but ultimately it's really very fortunate the high school they attend. They provide elective classes. It's really through those classes they find their passion and interest. Particularly for my younger daughter, she is graduating high school and interested in pursue a degree in mechanical engineering.
Oh, wow.
She actually told a counselor she didn't want to consider engineering because her mom is an engineer.
Interesting.
So it was interesting that it's like I thought I setting up as a role model, but it was in her junior year she took a class on manufacturing process, and she really fell in love with the product design. I think it's going through that process, kind of the discovery process, and it's really for them to own it. So I think what my message is, it does take a village to really build in the pipeline for the more women's engaged or interest in engineering. So I think that could be done more.
I couldn't agree more. And it sounds like, the schools that they're currently attending are really giving those opportunities to them. And look, Janice, thank you again for being part of this, mini series and for sharing your insights.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.